Welcome back to the channel. This is a little weird. First of all, this is not going to be about fishing. There's not going to be any fishing in the video. And also, this is the first video I'm going to post for 2024, but I've already done a road trip. And so I have a couple of fishing videos I'll be posting in the next couple of weeks. But I kind of felt the need to make this video. You know, this channel, the whole reason for this channel is to reach average Joe fishermen like me and take them fishing with me, you know, because you don't get to go as much as me. I have the luxury of time to fish whenever I want. And so that's the whole point of this channel, is just to, you know, entertain average Joe guys like me. I'm not going to teach you anything. I'm not selling products. I don't have sponsorships, none of that. And so I like to just focus on the fishing. But something occurred to me when I was doing, you'll see, I went on a road trip. I went fishing, and you know how I get the topographical map, and part of the entertainment is to go over a map, figure out, you know, time of year, you know, bass behavior, where they might be, and try to come up with a game plan on how to try to catch them. Well, I realized that my way of fishing has become obsolete because of the advancements in sonar. You know, it's like when in the 80s, I was a computer repairman, and we didn't have cell phones. And so I used to carry a pager. And when one of my customers' computers broke, they would call the dispatch center. The dispatch center would call my pager. My pager would go off, and it would tell me there would be a display, you know, who to call. And then I had to find a phone. And usually it was going to be a payphone, because I was out, and I'd look for a payphone, and I'd use a payphone. Well, cell phones got rid of the need for payphones. They don't exist anymore. So what I'm seeing in the advancements of sonar is patterning bass is not a thing anymore. Like Roland Martin is credited with coining the phrase pattern fishing. And he said, you know, if you fish a certain lure around a certain type of cover and you catch a bass, that could be total luck. If you catch a second one doing the same thing, now you're on to something. If you catch three, you've established a pattern for the day. Well, that's how I like to fish. That's how I learned how to fish, and it's fun. For me, that's fun. Not knowing, you know, are they in the bushes? Are they on the drop? And having to go through the process of trying to find them. But with this sonar, it eliminates that, because like pre-spawn, you know, if you've got forward-facing sonar, the 360, I don't know who makes what. I don't really pay that close of attention, but they got the one that looks like a radar at an airport, so it's telling you what's all around you. And then they got the forward-facing. Those guys, they don't even know what that means, pattern fishing, because all they know is it's spring, it's pre-spawn. They pull into a cove, turn on their stuff, and look, oh, there's one. Oh, there's one over there. Oh, that's a big one. I'm going to fish for him, right? They don't have to know, well, let me cover some water. And that's fine for them. I'm not knocking that technology at all. It's just not for me. The best example I can give you is when I go out, I'm on a new lake, it's spring, pre-spawn, never been there, and there's a shallow grass flat, right? I don't know where those fish are, so I'm throwing a spinnerbait. Let's say I make 20 casts, nothing. The 21st cast, a 5-pounder slams my spinnerbait. The feeling that I get, the exhilaration of the bite, the fight, getting them in the boat, is a 10. It's up here. Now, if I did the exact same thing with the sonar, if I pulled into that cove, turned on my stuff, and saw that those 20 casts that I was going to make, there's nothing there. So I'm not going to fish there. Oh, there's one. Looks like a 5-pounder. Right? Throw my spinnerbait, wind it past him, watch him bite, fight him, get him in the boat. instead of here, for me, that experience is here. It's still fun to hook a 5-pounder and fight him, get him in the boat, but it's nowhere near as fun for me than to not know he's there and to have to find him. So I feel like I had to make this video because, you know, if you're in your 20s and you've never fished any other way other than, you know, the modern technology, when you see me open up a paper map, which the paper map's obsolete. Now they've got those, they probably got more advanced than this, but you know, the SD card where they map every lake in the country with the same detail as the paper ones. You stick it in your sonar, whatever lake you're on, you know, you turn on your graph and there's all your contour lines. You don't need a paper map. So that's even obsolete. But I still use it because I don't have that chip. And it's okay. I don't mind because that's how I learned. So that's what's in my brain, the experience of bass fishing. Use the map, time of year, search baits, and that's how I get my enjoyment. But a guy in his 20s watching me open up a map and say, okay, you know, here's the creek channel, I'm gonna start over here, I'm gonna throw the sinking minnow, ba-da-da-da-da. He's thinking, why don't you just pull into the cove, turn on your stuff, and look for the fish? So it's a different mindset for fishing. So my channel, I'm assuming, is only going, it's appealing to people like me who still fish that way with the maps and the 2D, you know, and the people who are more advanced. I mean, what is this guy doing? He's wasting his day. And I understand their side of it. Why, you know, they're thinking you spend an hour in a cove trying to find fish when all you would have had to do with this technology is pull in, turn it on, and look, there's no fish in this cove. You just saved an hour. I completely understand their side of it. It's just not fun for me. For me, the fun is trying to find them. If you tell me where they are, you know, I'll put in a built-in swimming pool, throw a bass in it, stand up on the diving board, and, you know, fish for them. It's not the catching of the fish that is why I do this. It's the finding, you know, figure out the pattern, figure out how to get them to bite. The catching is the icing on the cake. So anyway, I wanted to just point that out, and then I wanted this part is for all you old guys, okay? Because I see these guys on YouTube, and some of them are just obsessed with this advanced technology. It's ruining bass fishing. They need to ban it. Blah blah blah. You're looking at it through old person's eyes, and you're trying to tell a kid in his 20s, you know, you need to enjoy this the way I do because here's how I learned how to do it. And it doesn't work that way. You might as well give a kid a flip phone and tell him, here, it's free, no monthly fee, you can't take pictures with it, you can't text with it, you can't go on the internet, but you can call anyone in the country that you want. That kid's not going to take that phone. So these guys coming up in their 20s, you know, and 30s, this is what they know. This is fishing. So they're fun. When they go out on the lake, they can't wait to turn their forward-facing sonar on. That's how they get excited. And they see one. Oh, there's one. I know, I've heard it. It's like a video game. Yeah, it is. It's like a video game. But that's their generation. So you can't take that away from them. And I'll tell you this, okay? As hard as this is to hear, we, people my age, let's say 50 and over, we're not the future of America, we're the past. So we're not the future of bass fishing, we're not the future of the technology, we're the past. The future is the 20s and 30s. The companies that manufacture this equipment, they don't care what you think. That's the honest truth. They don't care what I think. Because they don't want to appeal to me, they want to appeal to those guys coming up. That's their market. And if those guys are buying it, they're not going to stop making it. In fact, I've said this before, what they have right now today in sonar technology will be the most primitive sonar technology that they've ever had going forward. Because next year they're going to add something else. I saw Scott Martin win a tournament on Lake Okeechobee. He broke the record, 3-day Bassmaster event, 90 pounds. He was bed fishing. He was sight fishing without looking at the bend. He was looking at the thing. It's, I think Garmin is his sponsor. Garmin Liv Scope, I think is what they call it. But it has a new feature where you can get into the 3 foot of water, and this thing shows you, you may as well be looking at no water. It tells you, like, it shows you everything that's there. And he could see underwater grass that you can't see, like there's tules sticking up, but then there's grass over here. He can't see it, but he can see it on here, and he can see the hole in the grass. And the fish, I didn't even know it was this sophisticated. You see them wiggle when they're swimming. It's not like an arch. It's not like a, you know, you have to interpret. It's a fish, and you can tell how big he is. So he's fishing for 6 to 8 pound bed fish. He's staying 30 feet from the bed. He's pitching, watching his lure fall into the hole. He's shaking it. He's watching the fish react, all from on his screen. Now, I personally, this is just me, that would not be fun for me at all. But that guy's fishing for $100,000, okay? And he won. My advice is anybody out there who does this for a living, who's fishing to pay their bills, not only should you have that technology, you should be out there on your home lake perfecting it, learning how, you know, everything works, because it's your livelihood. And if you don't use it and you're fishing for money, you're not going to make it. You may cash a check now and then, and you may do good on your home lake because you know that lake. But when you start moving around to unfamiliar lakes, you are at such a disadvantage. You're like the sucker at the poker table. They're going to take your money. So I suggest it for that. And my feeling is, if you're an old guy, and you know, most guys, you know, let's say over 50, they're not fishing for a living. Most of them aren't. I mean, maybe some are. But by then, you know, you've got sponsorship. You've got things that pay your bills. And if you don't like it, don't use it. I'm never going to have it on my boat. I'm never going to use it. Don't use it. But to sit there and try to convince the younger generation that, you know, you're ruining bass fishing, you don't know what it's like. Okay, I don't like to name drop, but there's this one guy on YouTube, Randy Blaukat, which seems like a really nice guy. And he was a hell of a fisherman in his day, because I used to watch him. You know, when Aaron went pro, I would watch the Bassmaster events, and Randy Blaukat could fish. He was always, you know, up there. And he got a YouTube channel, and I once in a while I'd watch his videos, but I had to stop because it just seems like it's constantly, you know, the evils of sonar technology. And he said something the other day. This was the last video I watched because it just sounded so ridiculous to me. He said the reason they should ban it in the major tournament circuits, because it's costing the tournaments money. And his logic was the co-angler, you know, these pro events, a lot of these events, it's a pro-am. So they have an amateur on the back. There's a shortage of co-anglers now signing up. And he blamed it on forward-facing sonar, that they don't like it and they don't want to fish. Well, that makes no sense, because a co-angler has nothing to do with the sonar. He sits in the back of the boat, and the guy in the front takes them wherever they're going to go fish. And when the guy in the front gets there, the guy in the back starts fishing. So what I think it is the economy. The guy's paying, well, gas is coming down now, but for a long time, you know, $4 or $5 a gallon to fill your tank, and food prices, he doesn't have the disposable income to enter the Pro-Am event. That's my opinion. And I think they're now, the forward-facing sonar crowd is so, they're grasping at things like why it's so evil and so bad. It's not going away. That's the point of what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not telling you to change your mind about it. I don't like it. I'm not going to use it. I don't blame you for not liking it. But to use up all your energy with trying to fight this fight of we got to get it banned, we got to do this. Technology in America, in any industry, never stops moving forward. It always goes forward. And to let you in on a secret, right now, Garmin, Lowrance, Humminbird, they've got 3 new upgrades in the pipe, ready to go. And they're holding them because they want to release 1 a year. That's how they get you to buy their newest product. If Garmin comes out with the exact same Liv Scope in 2024 that they had in 2023, why would you buy that? Just buy the 2023 one. They have to add something, and it's just like cell phones. You know, when Steve Jobs did the first iPhone, it was 2007, 15 years ago, because we're up to iPhone 15. They already had the technology for 2, 3, and 4. They just released, you know, one feature for the iPhone 2, another one for the iPhone 3, and if you look, every year the iPhone has something that they can put commercials and say, look at the new iPhone, it's got this. Otherwise they would never sell them. You just buy the old ones. And so it's you know, it's capitalism. It's how they make money, and that's how it works. And so I still predict, I'm going to say within 5 years, that they're going to introduce voice recognition and artificial intelligence into this stuff. I think they already have it. It's just going to be released. And I honestly believe you're going to be able to tell your Garmin, show me bass over 3 pounds, and it's going to light them up on your screen. So you don't have to say, I wonder if that's a 3-pounder. I mean, some of these guys are probably so good at it that they can tell you, but it lights them up. And then I think you're going to take your finger, pick the one you want to catch, touch the screen, and say, Garmin, take me to target. And your trolling motor is going to take you to that fish. And when it gets to that fish, it's going to lock on that fish. And if the fish swims from your boat, it's going to follow him. I believe that, no doubt, that that's coming. So I think 5 years from now, guys are going to look back at what they have today and say, God, I can't believe we used to use that old technology. So it's not going away, it's going forward. So just, I mean, I hate when I hear these guys constantly complaining about it. And the tournament guys, they're not going to, Bassmaster and MLF, they're not going to ban it. They're in bed, not in bed, they're in, they have a financial connection, a business deal with the sonar companies. The sonar companies sponsor their tournaments, and by paying them the money to sponsor their tournaments, they get to showcase. You know, I don't know. The only one I know is Scott Martin. I'm almost positive he uses Garmin. Okay, so when Scott Martin is in a tournament, everybody, it's free. It's advertising for Garmin. He's using his Garmin. It's a connection. It's a business connection. There's no way Bassmaster is going to tell the sonar companies, you know what, we're banning your equipment or your stuff. It's too advanced. No, we're not going to do that anymore. That's their bread and butter. And all these young guys want it. We don't want it. Well, I don't want it. I'm not going to use it. But more power to the young guys. I say, you want it, use it. You can't stop that. You just can't. It just doesn't work that way. Technology advances. That generation, you know, comes along. It's all they know. You know, you're trying to tell a kid to go back in time and fish the way we did and take away all the advantages. It's the same as the cell phone. I mean, you think about, like, texting. I mean, texting it's so common today, and you go back to, like I said, the 80s, even the 90s. You know, my first cell phone was the size of a brick, had an antenna, LA Cellular. It only worked in the LA metropolitan area. If I drove to San Diego, my phone was no good. It was out of range. That was the first cell phone, and we thought that was unbelievable. I mean, I can be driving down the freeway talking to my dad in Southern California. I just thought that was, now look where it is. So you got to accept it. That's the way it is. You don't have to like it. You don't have to use it. And if you insist on fishing tournaments, fish them where you know the lake real well. Fish them when it's the kind of bite that you're comfortable with, where you feel like you can compete against the forward-facing stuff. But I will tell you this: if you're fishing for money, in the long run, you're not going to make it. It's just not going to happen. You're at too big of a disadvantage. Okay, that's the end of the rant. I just wanted to get this out here so that in the future, when you see my videos, you understand that I'm old. What I do is old. In the world of bass fishing, it's obsolete, but it's still fun. It's fun for me, and I'm assuming it's fun for you if you're watching. So, okay, I'll have a couple of videos, fishing videos, coming out here in the next couple of weeks, few weeks, and I'm actually heading out on my second road trip here in about 2 more weeks. I'm going to do 2 winter road trips. I haven't been winter fishing in a long time, but anyway, okay, bye for now.